Hi guys, Mr. Murphy here. I'm a little concerned with the quality of the projects. You guys don't seem to be following the directions. It's like nobody read the project planning document. We're planning a party for an unknown number of guests. It means don't tell me how many people are coming and give me a budget for that. What will you be doing? You're planning a party. This is just planning. So the next step will be shopping and look for discounts and stuff. So we're just planning right now. Tell me how much everything costs, but make it easy on me. How much does it cost for 10 people, and then 25, and then 75, and then 100? So you're planning for a whole bunch of people, but you don't know how many. So you're going to write an equation to make it easier. Tell me how much is the unit cost for everything you buy. So you can have the whole party at once, but I want to know, I want you to break it down. Are you buying silverware separate? Tell me how much each serving of silverware costs. If you're buying food for everyone, how much does each meal cost? If you're buying chairs and stuff like that, tell me how much it all costs. Tell me what is the constant for each of these things. And then you're going to make a graph for everything with an X and a Y axis. And then you're going to create a table for everything. On the table and the graph, you're going to highlight the points of the graph for 10, 25, 75, and 100 people, and explain what these points mean. And write an equation to help me understand it. And then you're going to explain how everything is proportional and how that proportionality helps you figure out the cost. And then you're going to explain everything in words. So you're not just doing math, you're explaining the math. So I'm going to go through kind of the whole thing. So you're planning a party for unknown number of guests. And the budget is different. You're not going, here's how many people are coming, here's how much it costs. You're saying, if you have this many people, it costs this much. If you have this many people, it costs this much. If you have that many people, it costs this much. So I can start seeing for the different number of people how much everything costs, because I don't know how many people are coming. So I want to see it in four main ways actually, but table, a graph, an equation, and then you're going to explain each of those tables, graphs, and equations. So it's three main ways: the table, the graph, and the equation, and then you're going to explain each of those. So these are tables. I don't care if they go across or up and down, but you need to tell me, how are they proportional? How is X proportional to Y? And I want a whole bunch of tables. I don't want one. I want one for everything. So if you're buying forks and knives separate, a table for forks, and a table for knives, and a table for food, and a table for music, and a table for the hotel rental, all of this stuff. Make a whole bunch of tables. Tell me if they're proportional or not. Some things you buy are going to be proportional depending on how many people come to the party, and some will not be proportional. This is a graph. It's got an X and a Y axis. The X goes across and the Y goes up and down. You should have a label on each side of the graph. Tell me if it's a proportional graph or not. Tell me how steep it is. Why is it steep? Tell me about the important points on there. This 0 point. Tell me about this point here where it says 1, and then where the line crosses. Pick a random point out here somewhere. Tell me what that point means. So you're going to have a graph for everything, and you're going to explain a whole bunch of points on each of the graphs. Once you figure one out, they're all kind of the same. And then you're going to tell me if that graph is proportional or it's not proportional. And here's an equation. This y equals kx. That's a standard proportional equation. So every one of your proportional equations will look similar. Not all of some, because some of your stuff won't be proportional, so not everything is going to look exactly like this. So y is proportional. What does that have to do with party planning? What does the y mean in the equation? What does the x mean in the equation? What does the k mean in your equation? So explain all of those things. All of your proportional equations will look very similar, so they should all be basic, real easy explaining. And then when they're not proportional, you can say, this is not proportional because, that's it. So in each of your descriptions, on your tables, your graphs, and your equations, explain everything with regular words. In the table, tell me what the x and the y is. Where can I find the unit rate? What is the constant? In the graph, tell me what is the x and the y axis. Explain why the graph goes up and how steep it is, and why is the steepness change for each of them. Pick a point at random and explain what that means. Where is the unit rate? In the equation, what do x and y stand for? What does the k stand for? And how does it change in each equation? Why does it change in each equation? And always, if you make a table or a graph in an equation, tell me if it's proportional or not. And how do you know if it's proportional or not? So remember, there's just two standards. The first one is find the unit rate with ratios and fractions, and most people can do that. You're just taking the quantity and dividing it by the units. The second standard is the big one here. Recognize and represent proportional relationships between two quantities, and there's 4 parts on that. There's the equations, the tables, the graphs, and the descriptions. You have to be able to do all of those. Right? So good luck on your project. You don't have to completely start over, but start putting in graphs, tables, and equations.